Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Cryptid Warfare. I'm your host, Z Baby.
And you got the bean with the bean, Drewski. Hey, what's going on, guys?
Inside of a bean. Oh, that sounds gross.
And the bean with the bean.
And right now the hot topic is the Miami thing. I call it a thing right now because we're going to dig more into what that thing might be and what actually happened.
Yeah, guys. I guess you guys all heard. If you haven't, you live under a rock. But we're gonna get you guys up to date. There was a incident in Miami that happened January 1st, the first day of 2024. Anyways, this happened at a mall in Miami, and basically, in a nutshell, everybody in the mall was running out, and there were claims that there was an active shooter. There were claims that there was gangs fighting. There were claims that there were people fighting. And um, what's weird is that they didn't release this until 6 days later. So usually, if something happens like that with a big catastrophe, when it takes all of the police force, first responders, to show up at a mall, that's a big national thing. So there was over 60 some police officers that responded. Guys, as ex law enforcement, that is sometimes it's bigger than an active shooter. You don't have the whole precinct responding, but to something like that. But with this, you did, and as far as that, they were there are people claiming on the internet, on TikTok, on YouTube, on Instagram, but you know how it is. You can kind of take it for what it's worth, but there's a lot of people who were there at that mall at that exact time running out, and everybody's claiming the same thing. They were seeing 10-foot tall aliens or creatures. But you guys know how I roll. I go about it in a biblical way, so I'm gonna pull out some scriptures while Z's talking, and and we'll just go from there. Um, I got kind of a little bit of a nutshell on like a police report incident. Okay, so basically it shows January 1st, 2024. Um, a couple officers responded to an active scenario that was going on. It was basically sorry guys, I got my coffee in my face right now, and I got all this steam. So if I keep
The bro,
blowing,
man.
I'm gonna
Face
move
is
out the way.
melting, but the coffee's delicious.
Yeah. So, anyways, yeah. So in a nutshell, okay. So police responded outside of Bayside Marketplace, downtown in Miami shopping center, as dozens of as dozens of police cruisers responded to an incident, and there was claims that there was a fight going on from other officers, but in reality, it wasn't. People were calling in saying that there were things in there that were trying to get people. They couldn't really explain it, but basically, what the media said, what all boils down to, is that there were two teenagers or a couple teenagers fighting. And let's see what it says right here. Okay, yeah, here it is. It goes on Monday night, over 60 police officers and police vehicles descended upon Bayside Marketplace in downtown Miami in order to break up a brawl between a group of teenagers who were reportedly hurling fireworks at each other in the open air of a shopping mall. Yeah, I'm sorry, that's not I don't know, to me that just sounds like some bull crap. Because at being ex law enforcement, like, it doesn't take 60 police officers to break up teens, man. It don't. It don't. Not only that, like I said, if there was an active shooter, a lot of times you get like the first guys who are in that zone, and if there's any guys not in a pursuit or not any officers during like a DUI or like a domestic, they actually respond. But over 60 police vehicles and police officers descended upon this place. I mean, you're kind of getting the all hands on deck on that one. And that's not including firefighters. That's not including EMS. That's also not including other three-letter agencies too: CIA, FBI,
I didn't think about that.
marshals, stuff like that. You
Why do
know.
you think that many showed up?
Well, at the place I was at in Colorado, if anything drastic ever happened, they would say all comms shut down, red alert, and they bust out the address, and then SWAT teams would roll up, and you basically have Well, for us, it was an hour to get there, right? But for us, that's because like we'd have to gear up, we have to get all the plans, all that stuff, right? But for first responders, like a regular patrol officer, you got it between 4 to 5 minutes to get to that scene as fast as you can. Well, they had over 60 of these mugs show up, right? And what's crazy is that it says that due to a large crowd of unruly juveniles, they have temporarily closed lanes. So they closed up to 2 to 4 streets blocked off. And they did all this because teenagers were supposedly fighting and throwing fireworks at each other. That is just total bullcrap. I don't buy it whatsoever. And not only that, 6 days later for it to come out, I mean, you think they could have thought up of a better lie. Just saying.
Yeah, for this year, there's gonna be, like, the deep state and stuff, they're gonna well, not even that, I know that it gets a lot deeper than that. There's gonna be a lot of stuff going on, and those who are who've been trying to push a certain agenda, they're gonna get so desperate to make up all this stuff that literally makes no sense. Like, that's like that movie, Sharknado, where there were these
Yeah.
guys who came up with the idea, it was over a cup of coffee. It's the same with this. It was probably like a 3-second idea, like, "Ooh, what's gonna sound good? Ooh,
Well, not
fireworks."
only that, I think they're really rolling it to, gunshots and teens doing that. Well, because I guess there was like 911 dispatchers were called at 8:30 p.m. local time, and the reports what they believed were gunshots, but they were actually loud fireworks. This led to arrival of dozens of police officers. Located at 401 Bayside. Oh, sorry, Base Cane Boulevard is what it is. But for kids shooting off fireworks, man, okay, for one, where's the camera footage for the mall? Okay, that's what I want to see. And usually it's
Mhm.
already out on CCTV. It's usually out by now, right? On YouTube, stuff like that. No, it's not. Two, um, you know, for juveniles, for kids, I mean, you don't need that many officers to take care of that. Not only that, if there are people calling in saying that, it's not gunshots, you know. But I don't know, man. There's just a lot of missing pieces. Like a lot of stuff doesn't add up. There's more cons than pros to this. So when it comes to this incident, but I don't know. Not only that, they haven't shown any. They just say that 4 juveniles were arrested, but I'm not seeing any pictures of these juveniles at all and who they were. But here it quotes on social media started to launch an investigation themselves, right? It's quoted from people that 10-foot alien creatures were caught on camera and fired at inside and outside the Miami Mall. Cops are covering it up, saying kids were fighting with fireworks, yet all the cop cars and air traffic stopped. Oh, get this. They stopped all air traffic. They stopped airports from flying out at the same time. They seized everything. No
Wow.
fly zones over it, no nothing. You cannot fly. And then air traffic stopped that night except for black military choppers and
Of
no
course.
media coverage whatsoever. Yeah, it's crazy, man. And not only that, if you find certain TikTok videos or YouTube videos, it shows somebody screwed up on this one, but it shows if you zoom in on the Miami Mall where it shows, you can see a gray creature walking between the police cars and the building, like running. And yeah, it's crazy, man. And it's kind of like translucent, but you can see it running. There were aliens inside, there were aliens on the roof, and there was an alien in the front running.
And I think this is just gonna be the start of this year, and then, Drewski and I were chatting yesterday, man. There's this movie, Leave the World Behind, that came out. I'm actually going to watch it. But you guys know that having having kids and also just working a lot, it can kind of take a lot of time. So I haven't just had the time. I've had to work on other things, but I want to watch it because I've heard so many references to it, and there are also numbers that are brought up throughout the movie. That a really good friend of mine, I was watching her little little video when she was talking about this Miami thing that's going around right now, and she was saying she believes they're dates. And then Drewski yesterday, he said, "No, like, yeah, something with October is probably going to go down." And I'm like, "Dude, this year, seriously, every year is getting a little worse. This year, something big is going to happen if they're going to start it off with that." Like, I don't know. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
Also, too, on a side note, yeah, it said that someone tried to debunk it, but this is the only thing. It says that these creatures is in fact just a blurry video of 3 police officers walking next to each other. But if you look at the whole standoff, you got all these police officers behind their patrol cars pointing weapons at the mall, and then you got these dudes in between them walking nonchalant. Nah, it don't make sense. Yeah, I just thought that was kind of funny. But I'm gonna bring up some scripture. But if you want to say anything, Z, you can before I do that.
Yeah, I do. And speaking of scripture, I mean, this week it's been crazy. I'm working on a little book right now, and that's just covering putting on the armor of God and how powerful that can be. I mean, you can see the world burning around you and all this evil, but God will still protect you. And early this morning, it was around, it was close to 1 o'clock. And God just put these verses on, or this actually a little prayer on my heart. And I'm just going to go on and read it real quick. But Lord, cover my head with the helmet of salvation to protect my mind against the evil schemes the enemy will try to ensnare me in. Protect my chest with the breastplate of righteousness by guarding my heart from the manipulation and fear the enemy will try to plant into me. Wrap the belt of truth around my waist so that I can be true to you and combat the enemy with your word. Equip me with the sword of the Spirit so that your spoken word can combat against the enemy's evil attacks. Place the shield of faith in my hands to protect me against the arrows of self-doubt, discouragement, anxiety, and depression. Dress my feet with the shoes of peace so that I can stand my ground and be bold to share your word. But man, I couldn't sleep until I wrote that out. And it's so crazy how we take every day for granted, but God gives us the strength to get through it. But if we don't pray over certain parts of our body and especially our mind where that can be the devil's playground sometimes. You know, a horrible soldier doesn't bring anything to battle. So you need to be ready because every day is a constant fight. There's a war going on, guys. And now it's slowly starting to bleed out to our reality. And now people are still choosing not to believe it. And seriously, this is going to be the first of many things just this year. I mean, I don't know. It's just blowing my mind. This happened on day one. Day one. And
Yeah. Not only that, it's kind of funny. Remember last year in Las Vegas too? Same thing happened.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, in the back of the backyard, and then the police officers are like, "You guys got to call someone else. We can't handle this."
yeah. Why can't we get that like footage like that on this mall? I did come across some footage of this shadow creature, but it was semi distorted. But then it was somebody who would like outlined it, and I'm like, oh, I see it now. But you can
Yeah,
clearly tell there was something there, but it was so. I mean, it was paused CCTV footage, but it was just all black and white, and I couldn't. But I don't know. There was like a silhouette and stuff. You can clearly tell there was a silhouette of some sort, and
yeah,
the portions were not correct. Like, so it definitely was not a person.
but yeah. So Z's like, what are your thoughts on this Miami thing?
Well, first, I'm just wondering, like, I've had friends who've lived in Miami, and a buddy of mine who goes to Miami a lot.
Hmm.
Believe there's more to his story always. Yeah, it's crazy. Like, I wonder what's going on in Miami for something like this to occur. And I don't know, but I know there's a lot of it's kind of like a Sin City there. It's kind of like a
Well,
New York, a lot different, but
yeah, and what's funny is that when it comes to fallen angels, demons, stuff like that, um, they claim ground, right? Because if you look at these things that happen a lot, Las Vegas, Miami, LA, New York, a lot of these places. Yeah, they're just a harbinger for demons, man, straight up, because everything that goes on there, knowing and unknowing.
Oh yeah, yeah. Did you also see this week that there were, I think it was governors, it was like government officials that were like pretty high up. They're starting to put in, I think it was before, it was like late December or something, or maybe early January, but they're starting to put in their resignations.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like,
Let's see. Well, what's funny is that the Epstein list came out, so that's probably why.
yeah, probably. And if you guys don't know what the Epstein list is, then just do a little research on DuckDuckGo. Don't get too heavy into it, but it's just an island where weird things happen. Well, not just weird, but just nasty stuff.
Yeah, about human trafficking and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Very, very sad. What's crazy about let's see. All right, and what's cool is that I pulled up a bunch of Bible verses that talk about aliens. So if you guys want to write this down, you guys can go ahead. I will send this and I'll have Z put it in the show notes. But anyways, all right, here we go. In Ezekiel 1, verse 1 through 28, and then Ezekiel 1, verse 4, Isaiah 13, verse 5. Oh, this is good. Isaiah 13, verse 5 says, "They come from a distant land, from the end of the heavens, the Lord and the weapons in his indignation to destroy the whole land. Who are these that fly like a cloud and like doves to their windows?" Huh. It's pretty interesting. All right, Ephesians 6:12. Everybody knows we don't wrestle against flesh and blood, but against rulers, against authorities, against cosmic powers, against the governments of this world, against the spiritual forces of evil in high heavenly places. And what's crazy is that also too in Revelation 9:7-1, it talks about aliens as well. And then Nehemiah 9:6 talks about it. Exodus 23 verse 9, Exodus 22 verse 21, Colossians 1 verse 16, Psalms 97 verse 6, Ezekiel 1 verse 7, Genesis 1 verse 26, Acts 19 verse 35, Leviticus 19 33 through 34, Hebrews 13 verse 12, Exodus 12 verse 49, Deuteronomy 4 verse 19, Genesis 1:1. Dude, it just keeps going, dude. It just keeps going. There's so many. Oh my gosh, there's so many.
Man.
Yeah.
So
And what's crazy though is that
I know with cover on the podcast, like
see.
there's a lot of stuff we cover on the podcast. Like, do you think more of this is going to happen more often so that people are just going to grow numb to it and then it's going to become pretty much socially acceptable?
Well, if you look at Matthew 24, Jesus talks about when Peter asks him, "Hey, Lord," or which one of the disciples asked him, "Lord, what should we look for in the end times?" Right? And then God talks about right off the rip how it's going to be like the days of Noah. Well, if you backtrack to Genesis 6, right, then the days of Noah. All right, let's look at the breadcrumbs here. What are aliens known for besides, let's just get off the biblical thing, right? Abducting people, okay? They run experiments on them. They take parts of DNA and create other things off of them. They always try to enlighten them on how Jesus Christ isn't a religion, isn't the right way. They always try to disclaim God and how Jesus isn't real. They always try to abduct a new age religion into it. And then if you look at the reports, anybody who's who spoke against these entities, saying, in the name of Jesus Christ, get away from me. The abduction stopped. I mean, these are all light bulbs, in my opinion, on these things ain't good. And if you go back to Genesis 6, what was the MO of the fallen angels, right? To teach humans different religions, different skill sets, to steer them away from God. They abducted them, they raped them, they DNA manipulated them, they crossed DNA, same thing aliens do. Okay, everything just adds up, and not only that, they came from the sky. Same thing with aliens; they come from the
Dude,
sky.
I just had a thought, like, back in Noah's time when it was, I'm sure some of this stuff might have been so common, and how God put over that the big global flood,
Mm-hmm.
wiped all of it out. I wonder if this is their new idea. They have to make it be more subtle about it.
Well, if you look at it right, the fallen angels actually went with the times when you think about it, right?
Hmm.
Because first they were like little gods, right? Men of renown, they had kids, stuff like that, and then that's where you get the Nephilim. And then after that, the flood happened. Then you get Babylon, right? Then after Babylon, you get all like these demigods, Roman gods, Greek gods, all this stuff. Then after that, years later, they're aliens, right? So they just change with the times, adapt to the culture, right?
Hmm.
Back in the day, they were considered as, certain angels of light, right? Then they're gods, demigods. Now they're aliens. So, they're just gonna trick and deceive, and that's just their MO, man. And I'm looking at something right now. The thing too that got me was Luke 21 verse 26. It states that people will faint from terror. Oh, sorry. People will be terrified at what they see coming upon the earth, for the powers in heaven will be shaken, right? I think there's a war going on in heaven. There's always a war going on in heaven. Not in the first heaven, but in the second heaven, for our souls, right? But then we get caught in the crossfire down here, sometimes physically, because I think they go through portals or whatnot. But it just trips me out that I think we will see more of this. And
Oh,
Jesus
yeah.
even talks about it. It's going to be like the days of Noah. And, in Luke 21:26 in Revelations, it talks about how people will lose their faith, and they'll be terrified from seeing what's coming on the earth and upon the earth, right? Yeah, I think they're slowly kind of like, I guess, kind of like getting us used to. I think this is going to be happening a lot more, but they're slowly going to get us used to this, kind of like pre-programmed. So when the Antichrist does happen, or Project Bluebeam, or a fake rapture, or these aliens come on the earth and try to disprove God, a lot of people are going to fall for it. And to me, that is going to be one of the ultimate deceptions, is they come down and try to disprove that God never existed, that they were our creators, almost kind of like the movie Prometheus.
Oh, yeah, Prometheus, yeah, with
Prometheus,
the
yes.
alien
Yeah.
prequel.
It's trying to say that they're our creators, basically. And then we are our own gods. The whole Antichrist thing, like just like the whole one world religion, universalism. Yeah. But anyways, I'm getting off track here, but going back to the aliens and stuff, like, yeah, I think they're fallen angels, could be Nephilim, because there's a difference. Fallen angels are basically the opposite of angelic angels. Demons are different. Nephilim are like a physical body of a demon, and then when Nephilims die, they become demons. They're spirits and stuff, and then they can co-inhabitate in something else, but like outer shells and skins and stuff. But But yeah, so it's just, to me, I just thought it was very, very interesting on what happened in Miami. And yeah, just, just throw the cards out where they may. And I just thought it was pretty suspect that they didn't come out with it. Okay, I can understand maybe like the next day, right? Like, hey, this just in yesterday, so and so happened at the mall. Da, 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 da. Yeah, it's understandable. Cool, whatever. But 6 days, come on, guy.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just doesn't add up, man. So, but I think they're running out of ideas. I can just tell that they're getting sloppier and sloppier when it comes to their lies.
Dude, I've even been seeing, like, speaking of just not really trying much and things are getting crazy, like, for Project Bluebeam and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I saw several videos, and it's just a like, alien. Yeah, and I believe these are tests. Um, but down the rabbit hole, I think one of the videos I saw was something posted on his social media, and it was just like a big alien ship over, I think, a city. Um, and so I believe they're starting to really work on Project Bluebeam type stuff. And then I saw another one where it was just of a dude who was outside of his house. He was looking at the moon, and then he saw
Oh,
something.
his giant face.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I'm like, dude, they're getting they're starting to experiment with Bluebeam, like, but I guess they're just trying to try it in certain spots to see how people react to certain imagery and crap. But I mean, that's where they're
Yeah.
going to start like putting out. I forgot what it was, like frequencies and other things to help you to kind of direct your thoughts in your mind to go a certain way.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But also too, when there's
And
what's funny too is that the whole Epstein list came out, right? And people were like really, really focused on that. And then all of a sudden they came out with this footage in Miami, right? That they were trying to cover up. But I don't know, I just think it's funny. It's like, hey, look over here. Hey, look over here. Don't look over here. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah, I'm trying to think of some big event that might have been going on that happened whenever the Johnny Depp and Amber Heard trial was going
Yes.
on. I'm like, I wonder what they were trying to
They
cover
were
up.
trying to cover up Epstein's girlfriend's court going hearing. Yeah, because I didn't give a crap about because I didn't give a crap about the whole Amber
I know, I'm
Heard
like, that stuff's dumb, man. Who needs to
Johnny Depp
who
thing.
would
I didn't
wanna
give
even
two
keep up with
craps
that?
about that. But yeah, other than that, guys, like I said, hope you guys have a blessed 2024. And other than that, I'm putting out daily devotions on our shoot. I'm doing it on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube. So if you guys follow our pages on there, I'm putting daily devotions on there. And then Zook started up a new podcast. It's why don't you tell them what it is, Zook?
Yeah, I'm excited. So it's not fully launched yet, but, I do have about, 10 episodes done, but it's, I just kinda how our pastor preaches. It's called exposital preaching, and he covers he just breaks down chapters of the Bible, and then he'll give you some, um, logical things to think about, but he'll also cover, like, historical content and stuff like that, and how you can apply it to your life. So I'm starting to do that as my own side podcast, and it's so rewarding having my own Bible study with myself. But
Yeah, it's gonna be good, man. I can't wait to listen to it, man. I'm excited.
oh man, thank you. I'm
Yeah,
really excited. But I will say right off the bat, it is more focused toward men and fathers, because I
that's
really
good.
think, other than a lack of relationship with God and Christ, that man, we need better father figures out there, the
Hundred
spiritual
percent,
leaders.
man. 100%. So, hey, man, I appreciate what you're doing, and keep fighting the good fight, Zook. Keep
Me
putting
too, brother
those
man.
keep putting those podcasts out, man. I'm gonna be excited to listen to those, man. So,
Dude, thanks, man.
but anyways, guys, just remember we're not wrestling against flesh and blood, but against principalities and authorities and rulers and governments of this age. And what's funny is, what was that Bible that Josh was talking about?
The Geneva. I've been looking into that one.
Dude, it's in that, bro. Like
Yeah,
the
like
governments.
principalities was
That's
changed from, I
crazy,
believe it said,
man.
like evil
Oh,
governments, corrupt governments. I'm like,
yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, dude. What's crazy? Get this too is I found out that I was talking to Brandon and not Larry, but I
I don't
got
know.
this from Grave Evidence. I guess this is crazy, but I guess a fun fact, he said that King James wrote a Satanic Bible as well as the Bible they are forever omitting verses from. Yeah, and I looked up, yeah, he wrote a Bible called Demonology, dude. King James.
Ooh,
Yes. What the
wow.
I never knew that, dude. And yeah, man. Even Brandon Kroll put that out in one of his posts, man.
I bet you that went over well.
Oh, bro, I know. And what's crazy is that he says, in a nutshell, let's see, after 8 inquiries back to back with DMs and comments on which versions of the Bible I use or trust, I felt the need to repost my beef with King James. It seems more than a few missed my emphasis on last night's post. Not the point of my argument here of not wanting to answer per comment on which Bible version I prefer. Honestly, I hate theology arguments concerning denominations and theology and debates. For me, that's swinging away at the branches while missing the roots of the matter. His branches breaking down on the whole context of everything and on who wrote that Satanic Bible, man. That's crazy. I didn't know that King James, man, had a part in that.
It's so scary, man. You know that like the 80-20 principle, where I
Yeah.
mean 80% is true, but there's that 20% deceptive lie that's put in there. But it sounds so believable, people just don't even think much about it. And they'll be like King James, because I mean that's something you and I just learned. I'm like, I did not know there
Oh,
was a.
get this too. King James was a Freemason. I know. I
That's what, dude. I'm
know.
so glad I learned about like this the Geneva
Oh, I
Bible.
hate it.
It's like
I'm
the
gonna go buy me one,
1690
man.
edition, but it is something to wrap your head. Like the only versions I could find, text is a little faded, and these are newer editions too. Well, by newer, like they're reprinted, but it covers the same material. It's the same text from back then and stuff. But I cannot. It's hard to keep up with the language from back then. It is a little King James ish. Yeah, man, we need it daily, like all the time. And I'm trying to get it in my son's head that it's always good to pray before you eat, because and I'm actually going to write on this topic as well. I want to start creating like little bite-sized books that cover certain things to pray about, but praying before you eat, because like going to the grocery store and stuff like that, you would be surprised in the occult practices that some of these local farmers are involved in, and how that pours out onto their crops and stuff like that, and then that
Oh,
brings
especially
in
too, like also
demonic
when you
things
go to
in your body.
Amish places too to get food. They're they're a
Yeah,
cult as
and
well, man.
it's so crazy, man, how much power's in prayer, and it can just cleanse your food by literally doing like, "Thank you, Lord, for this meal. Help it treat and nourish my body well." And
Yeah.
but I don't know, it's so wild when you think about it. All right, everybody, till next time. See you later.
All right, guys, be good. Yeah, be blessed. And you know what, guys, if you guys got any prayer requests, hit us up, man. Send me a message in Instagram or email us, man. We'll be glad to pray for you guys.
Well, all right, see ya. Bye.
All right, later.